Oh, you're in here. Okay, when you sit back, you're bigger than I am.
Well, welcome to the 7 o'clock talk. And tonight we have Libby, who has been laying down the whole time and just being chill. And then as soon as the camera comes on, she gets right in it. Anyway, over the last couple of weeks, we have been designing a diabetes program. We're bringing in other practitioners and other types of providers, and we're getting that ready. And one of the things we've decided to do was test, yes, a constant glucose monitor that we'll be able to use with our participants who want to be in the diabetes program. And right off the bat, it's been really cool. And this is Jessica's experience with a CGM. So I will let her talk about the CGM and I'll ask some questions. And if you guys have any questions, post them in the sidebar and we'll get them answered. But just to start off, which one are you using?
This is a Libre 3, and this has just happened to be the one that we found that was in a good price point, right?
Yes.
So it was important that I wanted to use it to see if I could figure it all out by myself, which we had some issues, so he actually figured it out. But once we got those all worked out, it was easy to put on. It's comfortable. I don't notice that it's there. And I've been actually kind of fascinated with it. So the first week, which was last week.
Well, hold on. Let's talk about the hardware. It works with most phones.
Well,
most phones,
but not as many as it should. But it works with most of the Apples. Does not work with Motorola, and it works with most Google phones and a lot of Samsungs. But I was really surprised by its limitations as far as the phones that it works on.
And so when you put this on, it has a device. You just push it on the back of the arm after you wipe it with alcohol. You push a button and click, goes on, cover it with the sticker.
Now Libre 3s they only recommend it on the back of the arms.
Okay.
So you have to alternate on each arm, but these can only be used on the arms.
And so after that, the whole idea behind using this, I used one for a period of time that I used it for 3 months. It was the Dexcom CGM, and I will say that it was $1,000 a month. So the 3 months that I used it, it was $3,000, and that is not accessible to patients in my patient base. So we did take time to do some research to find it. It's, to begin with, it's a little pricey, but after that it's not. We'll have that all in the diabetes program. But what has been your experience with this? Just tell them about your week and what you've learned.
So the first week we were just kind of trying out the things that I like to eat that make me feel good, so that don't make me sick. And I was surprised to find out that most of the things that I enjoy eating really didn't do anything with the blood sugars. However, I usually never get highs, but I do get lots of lows in the middle of the night. And the things that we thought we were eating that were healthy affect my blood sugars. So this would probably not be a tool that we would start out with most of our patients, because they need to work through and clean up their diet and make sure they've kind of got their diet the way they should, and then go back with this and figure out if their healthy diet is actually working for them. So this actually has been a fascinating experiment for me. So last week we just ate all the different foods to see what happened, and the worst things in our house are supposed to be like non-GMO, clean. The two things that I actually have here that are packaged or processed is a type of granola bar that's supposed to be fabulous and it's quite pricey. And I send them with my daughter to school for snacks, which actually created the huge spike and the huge drop within 2 to 3 bites. That was one. And then two was a tortilla chip, which are supposed to be super clean, non GMO, 2 ingredients, 3 if you can consider water. And that actually made my blood sugar, it didn't spike it, but it went up way more than I thought it would. However, I had a lot of fun last week because I like coffee, but here lately coffee just doesn't taste good. So I went and tried all the coffees of the big chains, and none of which I drank much of because I did not like the flavors. However, the biggest chain that everybody enjoys actually scared me so badly that I didn't drink it past the third sip.
Let's put this into, she drank less than 1 ounce, less than a shot.
Probably drank that much of my cup, if that. And it went from
82 to almost 170, 160, like 5 to 8.
And I put it to the side because I could not focus on anything other than the number on the phone, because it that truly scared me that something I had just drank so little of was affecting me that quickly.
So let's talk about why a CGM is good to have and is good information. For the most part, you get a range, and you want your blood sugars to stay in this range. And will give you plus or minus about 20 points, 20 point high, 20 point low. And you really don't want to vary more than that 40 points, even when you eat. So what the studies show is if you're eating something and it takes your blood sugar over 140, you're doing DNA cellular damage. So you definitely want things to stay below 140, but you generally want to keep them in a 40-point range. So if you think a high of fasting blood sugar is 80, you really don't want your blood sugar to go much over 105 to 10, even when you eat. And you really don't want it to go from 80 down to in the 60s. Generally, they say fasting blood sugar should be between 75 and 85 ideally. And what we saw, we'll come back to the coffee in a second. What was the first thing we saw with you? And the first thing that we started to tweak?
The low blood sugars at night.
That alarm. Oh my God.
50, around 50 all night.
Yeah.
Which, so tell them why that's, so for me, I eat a pretty good diet. I mean, I do eat treats, but like for the most part, I don't overeat at all. I eat until I'm full and I'm done. I don't eat junk. I don't drink soda. So my diet's pretty good. Very, very clean. We usually buy our own food, and like we rarely eat processed food. But it looks like at nighttime I bottomed out. My insulin would go up, or the cortisol response would go up. So essentially, it's like I'm eating junk food all night long while I'm sleeping. So that was kind of like, well, how is that happening? So then we started tweaking it and playing with food at nighttime. And so I ate protein, just protein one night, and then I made it most of the night before it alarmed. And then I started eating a little protein with carb. And then I got all through the night without alarming. And then I don't remember what. It's best if I ate carbs and protein together. But I have a hard time eating my dinner and then eating again right before I go to bed. So I saved my dinner and ate it right before I go to bed. But then that ruins my sleep. So we're still tweaking it. But I don't know that I did not alarm last night.
No, her low was in the 70s. So this gives us an idea of what cortisol and insulin are doing, because those are the hormones that you have to control.
Because they make you fat.
Yes. And so when we see this, we see that she has some dysregulation. So her cells need to be resensitized to insulin. she all in all has really good control until she gets a bolus of food. When she gets a bolus of food, she is kicking out quite a bit of insulin because when she eats, we generally see a dip before it goes up.
And the last time we checked my blood, I did not have insulin resistance. It was really low. So this is just, it's the fine tuning of.
Yes.
And I don't have a blood sugar issue. So I usually just truck along in the low 90s. And if I eat like clean proteins and my vegetables, even fruit, I mean, the line just goes straight along. And if I do eat
Well,
a meal, it's usually a slow curve up and a slow curve down.
Most meals that are prepared or from a little nicer restaurants, not a big deal.
Do nothing.
Even the Thai food with the noodles didn't hit her.
Mm-hmm.
But we had a going away party for somebody.
That was kind of scary too.
Oh no, that wasn't. This takes the cake. So explain that one.
So actually, I love this kind of stuff. So this just, it, food is scary to me anyway because food just makes me sick. But then to watch how it affects your body. So we ordered. So we did a going away party for one of our residents at a nursing home, and he wanted a movie, and he asked for pizza. So we bought pizza for the residents. And
Hold on, I'm gonna add in. Don't waste your time on Asteroid City. If you are an action superhero quick movie, fabulous. If don't see it. If you like these very artistic, artsy things, you might like Asteroid City. But I digress.
Yeah. So we went to a big box chain and ordered the pizzas and asked them to cut them in 2x2 squares. What we got was probably the equivalent of 3x3, but it was a very small piece. So I got vegetables, and then I got meats, and then so I had those two pieces. I was full for myself after the first, but I nibbled on the second one to just have fun with the residents. And we watched my glucose go up, 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 up. And I don't know that it went low, but it was in the yellow. It doubled.
I don't know. Oh. So yeah. So she was almost at 200 with this thing.
And what I was full, like,
and all she drank was water.
Yeah, stuffed like a fat rat. And I knew I was full. And then within 15 minutes of eating it and the blood sugar was rising, I was so hungry. But I knew I wasn't hungry. So that is what's scary to me because there's something in that food that overrides my satiety.
Yeah,
so
leptin and ghrelin.
Yeah. So I knew I was full. I had 2 little pieces of pizza and I was stuffed. So there was no way I was hungry. And I didn't eat anymore. I had my water, but I couldn't. It took hours to get rid of the hunger pains.
And so, to our earlier points, if you've watched a lot of these videos, you've heard me talk about something that is called the bliss point. And that's on all manufactured and packaged foods. They want to have the right balance of fat, the right balance of sugar, the right balance of salt, but they like a little more salt because salt will cause your body to endogenously produce fructose, which will cause your insulin to free flow. So when we see this happening and we see that big glucose response, we know there's going to be a big insulin response, and it goes, and that's what her blood sugar did do. It dropped. I don't remember if it alarmed that night.
Well, that's the only actual meal I ate that whole day because I was so full, and I had a snack of like a little. I had actually went to the dollar store and pulled a little snack off because I was curious to see what it would do, and that actually did nothing to my blood sugar. So I had a snack and I had those 2 little pieces of pizza. That's all I ate the entire day, and it carried me through the night without alarming.
So with that being said, you've got to remember this is truly getting to that personalized care, because it's what affects her. What affects her may not affect me the same. And so I'm probably going to get one of those things here again and run a trial on myself. But this is where we talk about personalized medicine for the person and getting to those root causes of why this happens, and then starting to heal her from the cellular level, because we know that phase angle is low on her, and allowing her cells to come back to that robust, resilient stage that they need to be at.
So, getting back to our coffee maker is being repaired. So we usually make our own coffee. We usually only drink our coffee on the weekends. It's our treat. We go out, we meditate, we sit on our porch, and we enjoy our coffee. But when we go on vacations, obviously we don't have our own coffee, so we go and try to find mom and pop shops. But sometimes there's just no coffee to be had, and from now on we're skipping the coffee because that chain. I started out at actually it wasn't even coffee. It was a chai tea because it was evening. We got an iced chai tea. We thought it would be a better choice, and my blood sugar started out in like 82.
Yeah.
And went to 160 something.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Doubled.
So it's almost like the pizza.
With 3 sips. And actually I moved it over because it scared me so bad. So then the next morning I thought there's one more coffee shop in town, which we do enjoy going. We got up in the morning, power was out, so we went to get coffee. And I got a coconut cream latte, which I've never had before. And I got a very small cup. And I was almost afraid to drink it. And we watched it, and it moved up 2 points. I drank the whole cup. And we went to breakfast, and so I said, I never ever eat French toast. I don't even remember when the last time I ate French toast. I don't know where I seen it. I'm like, I'm going to try that. So I had a piece of French toast, 2 sausage links, a bite of eggs, and I nibbled on a piece of bacon. And I had the same cup of coffee that I was drinking. And I don't think my blood sugar moved up more than 10 points with all of that, including that coffee. So,
you can name. We're not bad mouthing that one, so you can say Luca Bees was great. It didn't affect her at all.
They did. So they make. I'm going to assume they make all of their coffee in house. I don't know how they make it. However, I did not get anything sugar free because I think that's even worse than sugar. But it was just their cup of coconut cream latte, hot. It was a small. It didn't move my blood sugars up more than 2 points. And I enjoyed that cup of coffee for probably 20 minutes before we went to breakfast. And then my blood sugars went slow up and they never went down. They just came right back to the baseline and moved on. And I was absolutely floored. However, I have one other thing. Anybody that knows me knows I love my stones, crystals and stones. I love the way they make me feel. So power was out. So we drove up to Jeffersonville, Clarksville area, and we went to a lovely place. We were actually just looking for treasures, and somebody thought I knew what Happy's was. So I'm going to give a little plug to Happy's. So if you're in the Jeffersonville area, you should go to Happy's Meditation. So I like my beads. And she's like, oh, you go to Happy's. And I said, no, but I think I need to find Happy's. So we went on over to Happy's, and I was not feeling well in the car because if I have a sudden up or down change, I get nauseous. I don't get hot, sweaty, or anything. And
shaky.
And my blood sugars are in normal range, but I was not feeling well. But we went into Happy's, and the environment was just really calming, soothing. But rocks and crystals, they vibrate differently. I like high vibrating stones, but my blood sugars
evened out.
Yeah, they went straight, and they actually came down and just stayed there at a beautiful level. So
yeah, they were higher because the French toast and that didn't spike you, but you were high, and then when you got in there, it literally dropped almost 20 points, and then it stayed flat.
And I felt good. Like the stones just make you feel good. So we just that was just something interesting that I didn't even think about it. But he just came over with the phone and was like, "Hey, look at this." and you could see the curve just go down. And we stayed there probably an hour. It was
Oh no, we stayed there. You meandered that store for like an hour and 45 minutes.
I had to touch them all. And well, I was looking for new ones, and I had to touch them all. But if you've never been to a metaphysical store, is that what they call that?
Yeah.
But they have stones, they have crystals, they have them in their polished form, they have them in their natural form, and you can touch them. All of them feel differently, and you should just try it because it makes your body feel really good and apparently relaxes you.
I like guitars. She goes for rocks.
But we both did go and enjoy trying to find each of them.
Yep.
We didn't get any guitars that night, but we found some rocks to bring home.
Yep. So with that being said, pay attention to the Facebook page or the website, and we'll have more information on the diabetes class coming soon.
Yeah, and I wanted to add, I'm not a diabetic. So this truly is for lifestyle modification.
Optimization.
And I would not suggest this for somebody that's jumping in the beginning and just changing diet. I think it would be too complicated. But once you iron out your healthy diet and your movement, and you've got your meditation and your community and all that, add it, and then have a lot of fun tweaking the healthy stuff.
Have a great night.